right about now. So as you can see, there's a few guys already on laps. For some reason, there is a Mercedes all over the back of a Haas, which is that Bram on console, with Steve Day, I believe, all over the back of him. Maybe just trying to get a bit of a slipstream on that lap. But yeah, I said I know I did a couple races in D4 with Nolan earlier on in the season. I say earlier on, I think it was like the first few rounds of the season. But I haven't been able to sort of keep up with D4 since then. And just having a look, our last race winner was actually, in fact, ERT Jordan in the Aston Martin. So again, I'm kind of intrigued on how he's going to be doing for tonight's race as well, if he may even play a part within the championship of the rest of these guys. But I'm sure Rezafai and Patsa Japsa are both raring to try and get this going. Both, of course, doing a lap on the mediums at this present moment, but we're going to stick on board with the Haas driver of Bram on console, who it sort of just gave us at the beginning of the game. So we'll stick on board with the Haas driver and see how he does as he makes his way through the hotel section in the final section of the track. As Serentier, again, I apologise if I said that wrong, but he has DNF'd at the penultimate corner. So unfortunately for him, that's his qualifying all done and dusted. Steve Day with the 37.1, Bram on console with the 36.0, and Licks 1 second quicker than that, 35.0 for the Mercedes, already getting himself into that 35s. I'm expecting Pole to be around that 35. That's a very quick lap from Licks, but of course Rezafai and Patsa Yapsa, we know how quick that they can go. I would say they are really around Division 3, maybe close to even Division 2 pace, and especially with the time that Rezafai's put on a set of the mediums, that's better than what I can do. So yeah, I will definitely be saying that pole is looking like it's going to be a 34, maybe a high 34, even potentially a mid 34 from a few of the guys, as I said, from either Rezafai or Patsa Yapsa, as pole post goes into P3 with a 35.7, and then, as I said, a few other guys are also on their laps currently, as well as MCR has invalidated on his lap. KXI just making his way around the final corner now in that Red Bull. What time is he going to put on the ball? It's a 37.239 down in P7. Bjorn as well, 52.2. I don't think that's a representative lap, so I'm assuming we'll see Bjorn go again probably after this lap, or might just come in, chuck on a new set of tyres, and then go again as well. But I think that's the majority of the first lap's already done. I think Patsa Yapsa might actually be going for this lap now, as he's making his way through the hotel section. He needs to try and be on point with Rezafai, and as I say that, he actually makes a bit of a squirm coming out of the hotel section, so I think we're going to see Patsa come into the pits. So at the moment, it is advantage Rezafai ahead, of course, of the IRT driver of Patsa Yapsa. Rel versus IRT from the looks of things. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very intriguing race. Only 8 people have done times so far, but again, a few of them haven't really gone out and done times yet. MCR is now going to be actually going for a fast lap, or as I say that, he did just sort of back off on the throttle. So I don't think we're going to be seeing the Spaniard actually get anything going on this lap. So I'm going to ride on board with, I believe it will be Storm, or it might even be a Leddy. I'm just trying to see who's the furthest one ahead. In fact, no, it's our Division 4 coordinator and organiser as well of Ariel Jordan. So we'll ride on board with the Scotsman as he's making his way up towards into turn number 1, breaking out around that 50-metre board in the black box on that right-hand side, trying to take as much of that exit curve as you possibly can. Coming through turn number 2 and turn number 3 now. Turn number 3, very, very easy to have that slide, especially if you're trying to take it flat out in the race as well. Now through turn 5 and turn 6, as you don't want to be taking too much of that curve, as Jordan has just found out. He has gone purple in sector 1, but again, that could just be the game glitch. Now through turn number 7, of course, that hairpin, try and get the power as early as you possibly can. Now DRS is going to be wide open for the Scotsman as he makes his way down one of two DRS straights, of course this one being the first one, and then you've got this little chicane, and then there's the second one, of course, coming up as well. Braking nicely at that 100-metre ball, taking quite a bit of curb on that inside, taking another bit of curb on that inside and that chicane, and I believe Jordan has backed off on that lap, but yeah, there is the second DRS zone for you as well. So yeah, Jordan, I think he's just going to be backing off of his lap, and is probably just going to try and go again for another one, or might even just make his way into the pits very soon, and then go for another one on a fresher set of soft compound tyre. But I'm going to ride on board with Storm 72, as he is also on a lap, but on a set of the medium tyres at the moment. Very nicely through that chicane has the Haas driver. Now DRS wide open, of course, for the Brit. He's going to try and make his way down towards sector 2. Is it going to be purple through sector 2? There's a little bit of traffic just getting out of the way for him. It doesn't say it is purple at the moment, but it's looking like a decent lap for the Haas driver, so let's see what he can actually do as he makes his way through the tight and twisty Sector 3. Probably my favourite section on the track as well. As I said, I know there's going to be a few guys that are going to try and play a little bit of a part in this championship. Well, I say could play a part in the championship. They won't obviously do it intentionally, but I suppose you never know what can happen. As I said, Resify, the one that is leading at the moment, Patsy Yapsa in second, but he's down in 17th position without a time on the board. As we're riding on board with Storm making his way around the final corner and up to the line, it's a 36.3 on a set of the medium tyres. Of course, it's a second slower than Resify, but it's still a pretty good time for Division 4 standards anyway. I think on the set of the medium tyres, that is not a bad lap whatsoever. Melty has gone into P6 with a 36.6 as well, on, I believe, a set off the soft compounder tyre, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he has, so on a set of the softs, and as I said, Resify, the only other one in that top 10 on a set of the medium compound of tyre. Just running on board with Jelly as he's making his way now through Sector 3, just sticking on board with the with the Alfa Romeo driver, sorry. I know he is pretty darn good in qualifying, so could play a part in this between Resify and Patsy Yapsa, but I know what he can do in a race, which is absolutely nothing sometimes. And I'm sure if you've seen the Power Rankings podcast, which only just came out about an hour and a half ago, you would have seen us talking about that. As there you go, Jelly into P3, 35.418 for the Alfa Romeo driver. As I said, a lot of other guys are out on their laps at this present moment, and I'm just trying to see who is the furthest one ahead, as Jordan gets a penalty for a collision with Resify, which is interestingly enough. Has Jordan just blocked Resify? He looks like he's still carrying on. Steven crashed as well at the second to last corner, so it's the second victim to be taken from that second to last corner. I believe that was Bjorn that's just made his way into the pits. ERT Jordan, last week's race winner, going into P8 with a 36.839. Bjorn is the one that's made his way into the pits, so I don't know if he had a collision with Steven, but didn't get a penalty for it. But I'm very curious about that. Jordan getting a 5 grid place penalty for a collision with Resify. ERT Jordan as well has binned it out of turn 3. So again, a lot of DNFs already in this Division 4 qualifying session, which is very, very strange to see. IRTI Connects is just making his way around the second to last corner and the last corner. Did have a slight bit of contact with the wall, so hopefully that hasn't given him any wing damage. And, well, into the pits he comes, so he must have gotten a little bit of wing damage. Plus, going that wide on the exit of the second to last corner will give you a this and next lap invalidation. As Melty really needs to move out of the way because Steve Day is on a lap and it's just completely blocked Steve Day on that lap. Hopefully that hasn't impeded Steve Day too much, but he's on a set of the soft tyres trying to chase down those top 5 guys all on their 35s as Licks the first one into the 34s of 34.884. Jordan really needs to move out of the way as well. Steve Day, I feel like he's just getting blocked left, right and centre throughout this lap, but making his way around the second to last corner, and the last corner comes the Mercedes driver. Let's see what time he's going to put on the board. It's a 35.309 into P2, up ahead of the rest of the other guys. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 at this present moment, and I don't know how much longer that's going to last, because I think there's a few other guys that are on laps as well, guys of Pole Pose, Resify, who invalidated on his first lap. And in fact, it's 2 temps up on his first sector alone. So you know what? I was going to ride on board with Pole Pose. In fact, I'll still run on board with him actually, because he's just making his way through the final sector of the track now. We'll see what time he's going to do. In fact, he has completely backed off and going off of that. So we'll ride on board with Resify and see what our current championship leader in Division 4 is going to be doing for his time on these sets of soft tyres. 5.5, almost 5.5 temps up on his time is the AlphaTauri driver, making his way over that chicane, just about keeps that on track. Very nicely done from the relentless driver, now making his way through the final section of the track. Of course, this is probably the hardest part of the circuit, just making sure that you're not trying to lock up too much and you're overheating those tyres and not going too wide, getting the understeer. Very easy to do, and especially out of this corner as well, very easy to just oversteer through that, but takes that very nicely. Now through the final 2 corners, a bit of a cut on the inside there from the AlphaTauri, but it still keeps it valid at this moment. Now through the final corner and up to the line, a 34.305 for a Division 4 driver is absolutely ridiculous. What a time. What a time that was from Reservoir. That's going to be faster than the majority of the D3 drivers. Even, I would even argue say that it could be even faster than a few of the Division 2 and Division 1 drivers. So what a time that was from Reservoir. That's very, very interesting to say the least as well. So yeah, what a time. And that shows why he's our championship leader. Of course, Patsy Yapsa has done a time on the board of 35.602, of course, for the Dutchman, and he's on an out lap currently to go for his second lap. But he did that on a set of the mediums, 35.6, 3/10 slower than, of course, RER Reservoir. So Patsy Yapsa's got to find a bit more time, especially on the sub-compounder tyre. With not much time left to go in the session. I believe there's about 5 minutes left to go of the session, so that's why a lot of people are still just sort of sitting in the pits at this present moment. But sorry, even 4 minutes left to go, shall I say. So we'll probably start to see a lot more people make their way out of the pits very, very soon. But I'm going to run on board with, of course, the Uruguayan of Letty, making his way through the final section of this track as well in Alpine, and see how he is going to fare on, and see if he can maybe even try and chuck it himself inside that top 10. Of course, ERT Jordan occupying that 10th spot on the set of the mediums. Storm still in that top 10 on the mediums, as well as Patsy Yapsa, of course, still on those sets of medium tyres as well. The Uruguayan's just making his way around now the final corner, and let's have a look and see what time Eledi is going to put on the board. Is it within the top 10? It certainly is. 36.361, of course, for the Alpine driver. Into P9 he goes. Now, this is the lap I'm wanting to see. Patsy Yapsa, is it going to be anywhere in contention with, of course, his championship rival? We're right on board with the Ferrari as he makes his way up towards turn number 1. Let's have a look and see how it goes. Takes a lot of that inside curb in towards turn 1, but gets it wide very, very nicely. Now through turn 2, takes a lot of that inside curb. And turn 3, a lot more of that inside curb as well. You can see Reservoir didn't really try and take too much of that curb. Now through turns 5 and turn number 6, a lot of that first part of the chicane taken by the Dutchman, and not a lot on the second part of that chicane, but that's probably the better run that you could possibly get. Patsy Yapsa very nicely done through sector 1. Now DRS wide open for the Dutchman. Are we going to be seeing him see if he gets his braking right down in towards this chicane? This is probably where it's going to be a bit of a make or break. Let's have a look. He's done that very, very nicely. Kept it in third gear. Is he going to short shift it up into fourth? There's a little bit of a slide coming out of that chicane. It's going to cost him maybe at least a 10th of a second out of that time. So that might be what could be a difference between himself and Reservoir, as Gel goes up into P4 and Bjorn into P5 as well. As Purple through sector 2 goes Patsy Yapsa. Now through sector 3. Again, this is probably the part where it's going to be the trickiest for him, and he's got to try and get this nailed to a T if he wants any sort of chance of being ahead of Reservoir for this one. Brakes relatively late going down in toward, coming up towards the hotel section. Again, probably cost him another 10th off of that through there as well. Very wide coming out of the hotel section and invalidates. And at the third to last corner does the Dutchman. He's still going to finish the lap anyway to see what sort of time he would have put on the board. And it was a 34.965, so that still would have been behind Licks, and P3 was where Patsy Yapsa would have put that Ferrari. But I think this might be a bit of a blessing in disguise for him. Starting inside the top 10 on a set of the medium tyres might just actually pay dividends for him, because especially if he can keep up with the rest of the guys at the start of the race. A lot of people say this could be a 2-stop race, or it could be a 1-stop race. There's going to be a variety of strategies that are going on for tonight, and it's just whoever makes that right strategy call, especially with those top 2 championship contenders. I think they're going to be the ones that will take this win. But at the moment, Reservoir is the one with the advantage in qualifying. I think Patsy Yapsa isn't going to be able to get another time on the board. I think he might be going for it though. So we'll come back to him a little bit later on, as Gel's just making his way around the final corner and up towards the line. That is a 34.800 for the Alfa Romeo driver. So very good lap time from Gel. Still could have the opportunity of coming up ahead of Reservoir, especially going down it towards turn number 1. But 3 drivers now in the 34.8. Of course, Patsy Yapsa also still trying to go and be in those 34s for a second lap around on these soft tyres, which could, again, I feel like this could be a bit of a bad choice for him, but he's the one that's driving, not me. So we'll see how he does get on. If he does invalidate on his time, or if he does improve on that time. It looks like it could be an improvement from 35.602, as a few other guys just making their way around the final corner. I believe that is Reservoir to start his final lap, and I believe that is also Steve Day just to start his final lap. But yeah, Patsy Yapsa up around the final corner and up towards the line. He's 2 times up on his time, and it's in fact into P2 with a 34.621. So that final sector was what really was down on his time, and he has completely made that one up in the end. So very nicely done from Patsy Yapsa. Again, not ahead of Rezify, unfortunately for him, but on the front row, and I would say that is almost pretty much solidified on the front row for the Ferrari driver, as it is now coming towards, or it is now at the end of the session. The checkered flag is out, and a few other guys are still on their laps. IoT Iconex still yet to put time on the board, as well as two McLarens of MCR and Jordan. Flipnams Ram didn't get another lap on the board, so he is out of the session without a time. Of course, Steven and Sirontier as well, as Iconex completely smashes the wall coming through the triple right-hander. So that is his qualifying pretty much done, as well as invalidated as well. And as I said, a few other guys still on their laps. The two McLarens did put a time on the board. Jordan goes up into P8 on a set of the soft compounder tyre, which pushes Storm down into the bottom half of the grid, as an MCR only manages P15. The Spaniard not having a very good qualifying session either. 37.456 for the Spaniard, of course, in the McLaren, as well as Bram has just managed to get himself back into the session. So hopefully he will be here for the start of the actual race. Rezifido is making his way up towards the line, and it's even more of an improvement. A 34.151 on a set of the soft compounder tyre is an absolutely ridiculous time. And as I said, I think that's might even be around the Division 2 pole time. So, yeah, I've got no other words for that, I'm not going to lie. Absolutely insane time from Rezify to chuck that on pole position and just glow that even more. But that is all she wrote for qualifying. Rezify, of course, our championship leader, has got that advantage now up ahead of Patsa Japsa down in second. Jelly just behind Rezify in third, with Licks on the second row as well in fourth. Steve Day and Bjorn on that third row in fifth and sixth. Pole pose in seventh with Ariel Jordan in eighth. They hit Melty in ninth with Brown and Console rounding out that top 10. Of course, KXI and Storm, KXI on that poor man's pole position, as I like to call it, in P11. So he gets a fresh start on whichever tyre he wants to go ahead with. Same with Storm as well in P12. A 36.313, and I forgot actually, Jordan did get a 5 grid place penalty for collision with Melty for some reason, so that bumps everyone up a place. KXI will still have a fresh set of tyres to start on anyway, so that won't really matter that much, and in fact that just benefits him even more for starting in P10 rather than P11. Storm will then start in P11, Aledi will be 12th, Jordan will Ariel Jordan will be 13th, ERT Jordan will be 14th, so of course, like it was earlier on in the season, the two Jordans still cannot be separated, despite one qualifying in 8th, one qualifying in 14th. That 5 grid place penalty puts them together on track once again. MCR is in 15th, and then of course Flip Namsram, Iconex, Steven and Sarontier not getting their times on the boards either. They will start P16, 17th, 18th and 19th, and all Dutch back row as well. I don't think Steven really cares too much anyway. He knows that he's won the constructors with Patsa, so he's just going to try and do as best as he possibly can. It might even be a bit of a tactical one, because if he can do, if he starts on a set of mediums, could maybe try and hold up the championship leader to allow Patsa Japsa to try and maybe catch up with him if he does end up getting away, especially with that time that you've seen in qualifying. I don't think anybody else other than Rezify is winning this championship, especially if he does the same thing as what he did in qualifying, if he does that in the race as well. So, yeah, letting everyone just pick their strategies and, of course, tweaking any of their setups that they want and their fuel. And we will get this race underway for the final time this season for season number 7. Of course, it's been an interesting season, to say the least. Of course, I would just want to say a massive thank you to the guys that have done Division 4, of Liam, of Ben, Nolan as well, when he was doing Division 4. A few other guys that have covered, Jess being one of them. I even believe Freefall might have covered one of them as well at some point. So, a massive shout out, but of course, mainly to Liam and Ben, who have done the majority of the season with Nolan as well. So, all those three guys, massive thank you to them as well. But here we go. We're on to the formation lap. And let's have a look at what the guys outside of the top 10 have decided to go on. So, everyone on the set of medium tyres, which isn't a surprise to me, other than Ariel Jordan, Flip Namsram, and Ike Next, which is a bit of an interesting one, because Connects could have maybe gone on the mediums as well, and tried to sort of help out Resify of just by maybe holding up Patsy Yapsa as much as he possibly can. But, yeah, I think, well, at the moment, I think anything's going to go now. It's those top two with each other. It's just depending on whether Jelly or Licks are going to get a very good start off of the line. If they do, they can play a massive part in this championship between these two. But yeah, these two, I think, have just been a complete class of their own. I mean, what, Resify has gotten how many wins? 5 wins in this division. Patsy Yapsa has gotten 3, but has gotten on the podium 5 times, 6 times of his own. And Resify has gotten on the podium 8 times as well. So these two pretty much have been a complete dominant force. Of course, as I said, with Mr. Valter as well in P3. Again, unfortunately, who isn't actually here tonight to try. Well, he solidified P3 in the standings anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, unfortunately for him, just too many races out. It hasn't worked out for him. MCR, by the way, is 4th in the championship. Still the only driver in this entire season that has scored points in every single race so far. Tonight is the final race. If he can get himself back inside that top 12, then he would have done it, and he would have been the only driver this season to have scored in every single race, which is a bit of an incredible feat, considering that how Division 4 has gone on throughout the season. Just keeping in 4th. He's been on the podium once, which was over in Bahrain. He got P2. But even since then, like, everybody else has been, like, even then, Steven down in 6th was won 3 times, sorry, on the podium 4 times. Lick's just behind him by 4 points on 122. On 122. MCR's on 126. Lick's has finished on the podium 3 times to his own. MCR only once, but just that consistency of keeping in the points every single race, he's managed to get himself into that 4th spot. And unfortunately, 3rd isn't for the taking. He's a bit too far behind, about 36 points behind that. So P4 is the best he's going to get. He just needs to try and hold on to it up ahead of Licks. But he's in P4, MCR in P15. It's going to be a lot harder for the Spaniard. But we are now getting ourselves underway for this final race of the season. Everyone is now in their grid boxes, and we are now just waiting, of course, for these elusive 5 red lights. There's the 3, there's the 4, there's the 5 for the final race of the season. They are out, and away they go. And it looks like Resify getting a very good start in comparison to Patso. I think Patso might even lose a place to Jelly up in towards turn 1. He has that inside, but Patso does keep that lead in the end into P2, and P3 keeps it of Jelly. Licks keeps it in P4. Beyond gets up ahead of Steve Day for P5. There's a little bit of contact between the pair of them, as I said, it can claim you like that through turn number 3. Bjorn already out despite having a cracking start. Melty dropped down to the field as well, and there's already a virtual safety car as Patsy Yapsa and Jelly were both battling each other, and Jelly in fact gets a 5-second penalty for a collision with Patsy Yapsa, which is a bit interesting under the virtual safety car. So I'm not too sure what had happened between them there, but Jelly unfortunately with a 5-second penalty, which he will have to serve. Pod Pose and Steve Day for some reason are switching positions. I'm not too sure what that was about. Maybe Pod Pose was thinking that it was still under race conditions, but was told to let Steve Day back through. Hopefully we won't see anybody get drive-throughs, as everyone has kept it nice and clean. Down at the back, ERT Jordan dropping down a few positions as well, down into 17th. Ariel Jordan made up 3 positions off at the start as well, so very good start from him. MCR made up 6 positions at the start, so the McLaren duo making up quite a few positions at the start of this race. KXI, by the way, up 5 positions himself, in fact already up in the P5, and still managing to keep with the rest of the guys. Jelly has just gone completely off track as well at the start of sector 3, so Jelly already out of this contention as well, and that's let those top 2 leaders go for it at 2 for now. Just the 2 of them. Whoever comes out on top, Jelly picks up the 10-second time penalty for his troubles as well. Licks has been sort of let go into P3, as he has got the medium runner of KXI just behind him in P4, but a very good start from the Red Bull driver, and has a very good opportunity of at least getting himself onto the podium tonight. He could end up finishing up ahead of Licks towards the end of this race if it does play into his hands for him as well. Connects, Flip Namsram and Jelly all into the pits, and I believe we'll probably see Jelly retire from the session, as there you go, he's out of it. Did speed on the pits, unfortunate for Jelly, happens. But Patsy Yapsa into turn 3. He's bottled it. Oh no, I said this earlier on in qualifying, and it's happened in the race as well. He's side by side with Aledi, and unfortunately Aledi's not going to try and well, he won't really care too much. He'll go for this move on Patsy Yapsa, but that, I think, is already done, unless Rosafai does bottle it. Already, I think this is, that's called the championship. Patsy Yapsa, unfortunately, into turn number 3, has been claimed a victim of that. Luckily, I don't think has any sort of wing damage, just his tyres are way too hot for him to be able to try and make up any moves. Steven just behind him, his teammate, gets the move done though on the Haas of Brown on console, and KXI and Steve, they both going at it through the triple chicanes as well. Both still keeping it side by side. Very good battling between the pair of them, and Steve Day going around the outside of that triple chicane. Very nicely done for the Mercedes driver. And this little battle here for third all the way down into 6th position. 2 medium runners, 2 soft runners. Looks like it's a very interesting one, and you can already start to see how much these softs are already dying off for these guys from 3rd through to 6th as well, as a Storm is just pushing these guys all the way through. And in fact, as I say that, almost trying to go side by side through the penultimate corner, as Poltergeist has a little bit of a wobble coming through that penultimate corner. So right on board with Storm, as DRS has now been enabled for this lap, and Resify is just pulling away at an exponential rate. Already 4.5 seconds in 3 laps. I know Patsa had that little bit of a spin, or half spin shall I say, but already 4.5 seconds up ahead of the Mercedes. Storm though all over the back of Pole to Pose, as there's more yellow flags, and Patsa is out. Patsa is out. That is confirmed now, as Resify, well, he's taking the weave. He knows that it's done. Resify has become the Division 4 champion. Congratulations to you, my friend. I don't think he really cares if he wins this race now. He might still try and go for it because he is looking a class of his own, but he knows he has won this Division 4 title. So congratulations to you for that one, and we'll see you in Division 2 for next season. Lix though, still keeping just around a second up ahead of his teammate. Surprised there was no safety car for that either, as everyone was making their way through it. But Storm all over the back of Pole to Post still, as Aledi and Steven just changing positions as well for 9th and 10th. The back end, of course, of the points positions. Melty, unfortunately, dropping out of those points positions for him. And yeah, you can already see how much of a gap is built up, sorry, from 3rd all the way down into 7th position. Jordan's now just sort of catching up to the train, but Aledi has just holding these guys back so much, to the point where I think the Uruguayan is just, he's completely split this train up with the lot of them. Yeah, Resify already pulling out another 7/10 gap just in that lap alone. He was about 4.5 as it came across the line before, but weaving down at a straight lost him about 7/10, and he just built that gap straight back up anyway, so he doesn't really need to worry too much about that. But yeah, this battle was a bit intriguing actually. 5th and 6th. You can see these soft tyres have completely died off now, as Storm challenging Pole to Pose as much as he possibly can. But I don't think Storm's going to be able to get any sort of move done. The lucky thing for him, though, is that Pole to Pose is out of DRS, so he can try and go for it. As in fact, he actually dives it in towards the hairpin, and I believe Storm's going to get this move done even before. Well, he's going to get the move done despite having DRS. Easily done. Very nice move from the Haas driver, and now Pole to Pose going to be a bit under pressure from the Spaniard in the McLaren as well. MCR all over the back of the Alfa Romeo, but I think there's not going to be anything that's going to be done. There are more yellow flags towards the back end of the grid. I believe that is iConnect having that half spin as well at turn number 3, as Jordan and Melty changing positions. In fact, there's a lot going on down here. Melty trying to make some moves up between a lot of them. They're almost free. They are free wide, in fact. Coming up in towards the final chicane. Oh, a bit of contact between the pair of them. Steven, Aledi and Melty. Melty tried making that free wide. I don't think that worked out for him. Steven just tried moving over to the left. That is a full course safety car, as Aledi is now out of the session. I don't know why Melty was trying to do that so much. He had the room on that right hand side, but unfortunately he tried to go down the middle, and Aledi was as far left as he possibly could do. Very unfortunate for Aledi getting caught up in that. We have got a full course safety car, which I don't think Resify is going to be too happy with, but I'm surprised. I will be surprised if we don't see anyone pit, and in fact Resify hasn't pit. Lix has pit. Nobody else is looking at the pit, and Storm's making his way into the pits, as well as Pole to Pose, as well as MCR. Jordan, I'm assuming we'll probably see Sarontier coming in as well. No, in fact he does stay out. Melty does make his way into the pits, bumps the pit entry, so I'm assuming Melty might have a bit of damage. Jordan stays out as well, so one Jordan in, one Jordan out. Yeah, 5 people have opted to stay out on their tyres, and interestingly, Steve Day and Resify being 2 of them staying out on their tyres, especially considering that it's on a set of the softs. They're going to get caught up probably within the next 2 to 3 laps, but again, I don't think Resify really cares. He's won the championship, so he's now just driving around for pride at this point. So it's up to everybody else behind him. Of course, KXI, Sarontier and Jordan on still 4-lap old medium tyres, started on those tyres. But Lick's gone on a set of the mediums. Storm gone on a set of the hards as well as MCR. So I think Lick's is going to try and commit to a 2-stop strategy. Storm and MCR are going to the end with these hard tyres. There's no doubt about that. These can definitely go to the end, even from lap number 1. They can go to the end. So Storm and MCR are going to try and take these hard tyres to the end. How much they're going to be dropping down with everybody being on the mediums and softs around them could be a bit of an interesting one. But yeah, they're definitely going to go to the end. And I'm quite intrigued. They might be able to get a decent points haul. Pole Post going on a set of the mediums as well as Jordan, as well as Melty. Bram on console and Flipnam's Ram, of course, they pit on their last laps before the safety car came out. And Steven and Iconex made their pit stops this lap. They're on a set of the fresh, soft compound of tyre, which is a bit interesting to me. But they're maybe just trying to look to make up a few positions as much as they can. Yeah, I think there's some interesting stuff that is going on as well. So I'm intrigued on how this is going to go down. I am going to take a quick look at Division 1 and Division 3 for yourselves, in case anybody is a bit interested on how these are going down at this present moment. Of course, they're all got their championship battles going on at this present moment. Nathan is leading, Justas is in 4th, and Campbell in 12th. But it looks as if Campbell has made an earlier stop than what Justas has done as well. Apparently there was a lot of drama that was going on, interestingly enough. So not too sure what's going on with that. Rocco, unfortunately, out of the session. And yeah, I think that's just very unfortunate for what's been going on with that. And then as for Division 3, of course, there's still a 3-way battle going on with those guys of Luke, Rick and Taupe. Taupe at the moment leading this race up ahead of Bunty in 2nd. Luke is in 4th and Rick in 11th, but Rick has made a pit stop. So I wonder if Rick was within that top, within that top 4, or top 3, shall I say, that are battling at this present moment. I'm sure we'll probably see them make their way into the pits as well. But everyone's pretty much caught up to the safety car now. Resify still, of course, being in that lead, and Steve Day in 2nd. They haven't really made their way into the pits. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how this is going to go down as well. So yeah, Resify again. It was just it was lightning quick, absolutely lightning quick off of the start from that. And again, I think he's probably going to try and do the same thing as well. Still just keeping an eye on Division 3. Rick has, in fact, undercut Dari. So Rick was within that top 3. He's undercut Dari, and Dari, Bunty and Taupe were all with each other. So Rick in a prime position to get this championship at the moment. He will jump up ahead of Taupe, and I believe the gap between them is only 6 points or even 4 points between those guys. So safety car is in this lap, of course, for Division 4. We'll get back to these guys as well. But yeah, for Division 3, it's in fact 3 points. Rick is up ahead of Taupe. So yeah, at the moment, Rick in a prime position to finish that P1 up ahead of Taupe. But yeah, Resify going to be taking us through this restart as well, just letting that safety car go. He's in fact going quite quickly for a safety car restart, but just trying to keep with the safety car as much as possible, but might try and go at the latest part possible, just to make sure that the rest of those medium and hard runners don't have their tyres as heated up as they possibly can. But let's have a look and see on board with AlphaTauri how he will take his restart, when he will go. In fact, he's slowed down a lot more now coming up towards the penultimate corner. So we'll see. When does the AlphaTauri decide to go? And is it going to be very, very soon? Is he going at his penultimate corner? Yes, he certainly has. A little bit of a slide coming down for him, but he has gone at the penultimate corner. Steve Day has read that as well and gotten a very good restart included. Storm, by the way, very good restart as well, all over the back of Lix. Lix, of course, the first pit runner, so technically our net race leader, but doesn't get a move done. The hard runners are just going to be suffering a little bit more in comparison to the medium runners, but you can really see Storm just putting that pressure on Lix to try and get this move done, and I don't think the Haas is going to be able to get anything done. In fact, he might even be under pressure from pole to post. Coming up towards turn number 5, he's not going to get that move done. Nix does keep that P5 position a little bit further back as well. Steven getting past Flip Round, and in fact, Flip Round tried to hold it down the inside. Unfortunately, was not the best decision for him. Probably should have just backed out of that one. You could see Steven had the corner, and unfortunately, Flip Round goes for a little bit of a spin on 4-lap old medium tyres. So he probably would love another safety car to come out, so that would help him out massively. But a little bit further up in front, Rectify, as I said, still getting a very good restart. Steve Day, by the way, has kept up with him, so very nice restart from the Mercedes driver, and just looking a lot. In fact, he's looking a little bit quicker than Reservoir at the moment, so I wonder if we'll see Steve Day maybe even try and go for a move on Reservoir very, very soon. KXI not had the best of restarts, still under pressure from his teammate more than anything, but even if he keeps his teammate behind, it'd still not be a bad result. Melty getting past Jordan as well for that P9 position and challenging MCR for that P8 position. Of course, MCR and Storm going to the end. I think the rest of the medium runners are going to try and make this a bit of a two-stop strategy. Of course, unless another safety car comes out, then they can just go. Yeah, it will be a bit of a two-stop by then, and they can just pit and go on a fresh set of the medium tyres. But as I was saying about Steve Day, Reservoir, he's pulled out a second already up ahead of Steve Day. So that's basically my comment, not avoided. MCR a little bit under pressure on these hard tyres as Steven and Brown on console through the second to last corner, still keeping it side by side. Very nicely done from them. Brown keeping that position from the Ferrari, very well done between the pair of them, and they're still both side by side. In fact, Steven trying to go around the outside in towards turn number 1, gives him that room. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, bit of wall banging going on, but still both side by side. And unfortunately for Brown on console, it was never going to work out. That's him round, and that's probably his rear wing slightly damaged as well. It was good battling between the pair of them, but yeah, it didn't work out for him in the end. There's Reservoir. Reservoir's gone round. Our champion now has in fact gone round at the hairpin. I don't know how he's done that, or if that was maybe even at the chicane, but if Patsa Yaps hadn't have gone for that spin and into that wall, this would have been a prime position for Patsa to be getting this championship done. As Brown has gone for another spin once again, Melty gets past MCR, so now up into 6th goes the Williams driver. MCR though might be putting a bit more pressure around the Melty as he will have that DRS, and DRS is now wide open of course for the Spaniard to try and get this move done. In fact, he hasn't opened that DRS, interestingly enough. I wonder if Melty's the one. No, none of them got DRS, which is a bit interesting. So MCL's just going to stay behind Melty for now, just try and let him drag along to the rest of those guys up in front. But Storm's still doing a very cracking job on these hard compound of tyres, keeping with those medium guys. If he does this, it's a very good opportunity for him to actually, well, potentially take the win of this race. Licks and Polderpos are going to really struggle to take these mediums to the end of the race. So they are, as I said, I'm more likely think they are two-stopping. If they do take these to the end of the race, though, that would be a very interesting one to handle. Steve Day, KXI, of course, still the two that aren't yet to pit, as well as Reservoir. Steven going for that spin as well, at coming under that hotel section as well. Just got to be careful when he does rejoin, but yeah, it keeps it in P13. In fact, his wing is completely gone, so into the pits he will go. Reservoir doesn't opt to pit either, being on those 7-lap old, in fact 8-lap old now, soft compound tyres, and having a spin on them. So yeah, he's going to be trying to put the pressure under Flip Man's round, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that many moves done. Maybe gets the move done on Flip, but he's then put himself more at pressure, especially considering that everybody else has made their pit stops, other than those top two, as well as Sorontier down in P11. But Steve Day doing a good job at the moment, just keeping up ahead of KXI. Of course, now DRS is going to be enabled as Brown on console has actually binned it out of turn number 2. Is that another safety car? It certainly is another safety car. That has helped Reservoir massively after having that spin. He probably was on for attacking Flipnam's round, but at least he can come in now, chuck on a fresh set of medium tyres and go to the end. Same as Steve Day. Storm and MCR are really hurt by this one, as Jordan has, I think, has just let MCR go. I don't know if that was under the safety car or if he was just told to let him by. I'm not too sure what that was about, but yeah, Jordan and MCR and Storm are pretty, I think I'm going to be pretty hurt by this one. They can come into the pits and go to the mediums to the end, but then so can everybody else. So I think we'll expect everybody to maybe make their way into the pits, chuck on a fresh set of mediums at least, and they'll be able to go to the end of the race on this one. So MCR and Storm tried the strategy, unfortunately didn't work out for them. But Steve Day, as I said, I'll be very surprised if you don't see the Mercedes make his way into the pits. Same with KXI, both haven't made their pit stops as of yet, and yet Steve Day, as I say that, comes in. KXI doesn't come into the pits, interestingly enough, so he stays out. Licks is out, Podpose is out, Melty's out, Storm out, MCR out as well. Interesting. Iconix is in. And I'm assuming we'll probably see Reservoir make his way into the pits as well. Yep, we certainly do. Sarantier comes into the pits, in fact, sped into the pits, interestingly enough. Flipnan's around into the pits, and Reservoir also coming into the pits. So only 5 pit stoppers, interestingly enough. I'm surprised it wasn't a few more, especially KXI, still yet to make a stop. Of course, it would give Lix the lead of the race, but at the same time, he would have done his stop and you beat at the back of everyone that had made their stops. About a 24-second pit loss, I want to say, for the pit stops. So, yeah, the guys that are on the medium, Steve Day connects, Sarantier, Reservoir, Flipman, Simon, Stephen, all can go to the end of the race on these medium tyres. Lix, Podopose and Melty might have actually gotten away with it, same with Jordan on these medium tyres as well. ERT, Jordan, MCR and Storm, I think they've been a bit compromised with that, because those medium runners can now actually go to the end of the race, especially considering that they have been able to stay under a safety car for quite a few laps. Means that they won't be wearing out their tyres as much, and as the laps run down, that's less wear that they're going to be getting on those tyres in comparison to if they were at full race, if they were at full race pace, shall I say. So, yeah, KXI, the one that's in the lead at the moment, the only one on the grid that is still yet to make a pit stop. Lix is in second and Podopose is in third. Like I said, very unfortunate for Patzer, because as I said, this would have been a perfect opportunity for him, especially considering that Reservoir had that spin. But that is, yeah, that is everything that's done for the championship. Reservoir is the one that has won this championship now in the end. He did actually, I think he put it on pause, literally put GG, so you knew it was done. Yeah, so congratulations to him for taking the win as well. But we'll go back on again with Divisions 1 and Division 3 for yourselves, in case anybody is a bit interested in, of course, what's going on whilst we're under the safety car, as Reservoir picks up a penalty under the safety car, so just adding to his woes for this race. But again, I don't think he really cares too much about that. Just as for Division 1, now into the lead of the race, still yet to make a pit stop, however, as Campbell is in P9 with a pit stop under his belt, but I believe looking like he is 2 stopping for that one. Nathan is the one that has made a pit stop in P4, but is about 13 seconds up behind Justas for the lead of this race. But of course, Justas still got to make a pit stop. Same with Jeroen and same with Rudy as well. I said Campbell, he's made a stop, but he's got a penalty. And he's all over the back of RLPs as well, so it's looking a bit tighter for Campbell to take this win in the end as well. As for Division 3, Luke in the lead of this race now, 11 lap old medium tyres, also still yet to make a pit stop. Tope has pit, and he's only 8 and a bit seconds behind Luke, and I think Luke is going to, well, Tope's going to be going to the end on those medium tyres. Luke, he's going to come in and chuck on a fresh set of the soft tyres, but it's when he does come in to make that pit stop, probably around lap 15, lap 16, he may come in and chuck on a fresh set of softs. Cam K, the only other one out there who has yet to stop, and as I say that, makes his way into the pits. So Rick has lost that time to Tope. It's just 3 points between Tope and Rick, who just got to remember that. But at the moment, as it stands, Tope will jump up ahead of Rick. If Rick gets himself up into third, then he has that chance of still staying with Tope in that championship. And as it stands between them, Rick has 2 wins to his name. Tope only has 1. So if it does finish the way that it is at the moment, with Tope in second and Rick in third, Rick on countback will win this championship, unless Tope, of course, picks up that fastest lap, which then be 4 points between them, and gets that win in the end as well. So I haven't seen it say safety car is in this lap, but I believe it will be coming in this lap, because I can see KXI just sort of backing off from this safety car. So let's have a look and see how KXI is going to be doing this restart, and see how he will, if Lix and Melty will be able to sort of stay with them. I'm sure we'll probably see a few stewards reports coming in as well at the end of this race. But yeah, at the moment, KXI is going to be leading us through the safety car restart. He has sort of been dropped by the safety car, so yeah, I think it is in the yeah, it is in this lap. Yeah, I said KXI the only one yet to make a pit stop. Lix and Melty are the 2 front runners at this present moment. Is Melty going to be able to sort of stay with Lix though? When is KXI going to go? He's gone now a little bit later than the second to last corner. Lix has stuck with him, and so has Melty. In fact, Melty has definitely stayed with Lix, and we might even see Melty. This will be the move for the lead of the race. Melty does not get the move done. He just stays behind Lix at the moment, but you can see Lix got a very bad exit out of turn number 1, and KXI is just going to be let off and just going into the distance up ahead of Licks. Licks, very bad restart. I think his tyres might be still very, very cold. And Melty not going to be able to get any sort of move done on Licks for this lead of the race. Steve Day gets a move done on iConnect, and in fact ERT Jordan as well. Jordan not having a very good restart, and in fact Sirunye going around the outside in towards the hairpin, and we might even see Reservoir try and opt for a move on the ERT driver as well. But at the moment it is KXI who did manage to get a very good restart. Licks a very poor restart, and Melty not unfortunately for him not able to get a move done in the end as well. So yeah, he's going to have to stay in P3 at this present moment. Storm and MCR still doing a good job on these hard compound tyre. Remember, MCR, all he's got to do is finish in the top 12. That would be every single race he would have finished in the points with as well. And I'm sure Jordan may even try and help him out with that, as Reservoir does get past Jordan in the end, coming up towards triple chicane. In fact, Flipnam's Ram absolutely sending it on the inside of ERT Jordan, as you can see from the back of Reservoir's car. Flipnam's Ram getting that move done. Very nicely done, in fact, from Alpine to get the move done into P11. Still just going to try and follow with the rest of the guys that are on those medium tyres, those fresh medium tyres, should I say, that are going to be going to the end of the race. Of course, as I said, the rest of the mediums should be going in the end, but at the same time, it's going to be, well, their tyres are going to be absolutely dead at the end of this race in comparison to those guys that have only just sort of pit for those medium compounded tyres under that safety car. As I say, in that Licks all over the back now of KXI. KXI having a bit of a wobble coming out of that second to last corner that allowed Licks to try and go for something. As Stephen is out of the race, second to last corner. Are we going to be seeing another safety car? In fact, it's a virtual safety car. Thank God for that. But yeah, so Stephen unfortunately out of the race. Pole to pose dropped down significantly. I don't know what had happened to the Belgian, but unfortunately he's now down in P13. One more DNF and everybody will be scoring points out of 19 people, which is a bit interesting. Already 6 DNFs in 12 laps. That's not a good start, I will admit, but yeah, Pole to pose now down into 13th. And KXI, I think, got a little bit saved from that one. He does manage, or he will be able to stay in the lead of the race. Hopefully no one will get themselves a drive through, but MCR dropping back a little bit from Storm down in 4th position. iConnect is all over the back of Steve Day. Hopefully no one sort of hits each other as they're going through under this virtual safety car as well. So yeah, I wonder how this restart is going to play out, but at this present moment we could be seeing some interesting things go down, as I believe we are going to be restarting very, very soon, or we should be restarting very, very soon, because it looks like the car's already gone. So when it comes to green flag, KXI should be going. It doesn't look as if he is yet, but we should be underway very, very soon, I would have thought. Licks is still keeping to the back of the Red Bull. And there we go. Right, we're back on the way. Thank God for that. So yeah, KXI still does manage to hold on. iConnect, perfect timing for the AlphaTauri. Gets the move done on Steve Day just as we're coming under the hotel section. And you can already see Sirunye also trying to go around the outside of Steve Day in towards the hotel section. Now going to have the inside in towards the final corner. Not going to go for that move. DRS has now been enabled as we're under a virtual safety car. It doesn't mean that DRS does not get enabled from that. So MCR now already losing out a significant amount of time to those top 4 guys of Storm on those hard tyres, doing an exceptional job keeping up with the rest of them. Of course, those mediums, Licks and Melty, they will go to the end, but they'll be absolutely dead. Storms won't really drop off in comparison to those 2 guys up in front, so we could see Storm potentially get himself up into, may even win this race, as Jordan, a little bit of a bump from Connects, and gets sort of forced out, and that allows Steve Day to go back past a relentless driver, and now MCR could be under a absolute tremble of medium runners. As you can see, Licks gets the move done on KXI for the lead of the race. MCR now going to get overtaken by iConnect down in towards the chicane. Gets the break a lot later, does the AlphaTauri driver. MCR tried to hold it around the outside, but unfortunately Spaniard can't really do too much about that. He does get the DRS off of iConnect, so that might save him from Steve Day, as Steve Day is going to try and make the move on the McLaren driver as well. A little bit further on behind, you can see Sirunye starting to come a little bit under pressure from Reservoir, as Licks and KXI. I'm going to go right on board with that battle, because they're still both going side by side. Storm and Melty as well, as Melty gets a little bit forced off from Storm. Don't know what that was about. I don't know if Storm got a little bit of oversteer from that, but I think he has to just let Melty back through. So yeah, Melty in fact has to let Storm back through. Must have overtaken him off the track. And the game's obviously told Melty to let him back through, as Pole to pose has that spin on a straight line, interestingly enough. But yeah, the Alfa Romeo has that spin. Iconex now all over the back of Melty in towards this final corner. Iconex is going to try and send it down the inside. Melty's going to leave him that room. Very good battling between the pair of them. Melty's going to hold it around the outside. We'll get the better traction coming up towards turn number 1, and we'll have that inside. Is Conex going to be able to get this move done on Melty? They're both sort of turn in, and Conex does leave just about an applicable enough room to get that move done, and Melty down now into 5th position. Unfortunate for the Williams driver. Was running with, of course, that top pack, but now Conex is up into 4th position and trying to chase down those other guys. In fact, Conex might be on for a very good spot. I think this battle between Storm and Conex is what's going to be the battle for the lead of this race, as MCR and Sorrentier both side by side now coming up through that hairpin, and you can see a little bit further on behind as well Flipnams Ram and Ariel Jordan, both side by side coming up in towards the chicane. There's a lot of moves that are going down. Reservoir also going for this move on MCR, might even go for this move on Sorrentier as well. Our champion, is he going to get the double overtake done? It's a bit too ambitious and has to back out of that one. P8 though goes Reservoir. Very nicely done. Pole position now out of the race. Again, turn 3 claiming yet another victim. Are we going to see another safety car? I don't think we will, but Storm gets passed by Iconex now. And P3, and probably the race lead, I would say, is now gone to Iconex. And now, interestingly enough, everyone that does finish will be scoring points. 12 people left in this race. Everyone, as I said, will be scoring themselves some sort of points at least. So, as long as MCR doesn't DNF, then I believe he will be the only driver, as I said, this season that will have picked up every single point in a race. Or I picked up a point in every single race, shall I say. So, that is an incredible feat, I will admit. I think he is just trying to get to the end of this race. Don't think he really cares who passes him or what, but he does want to try and hold on at a P4 up ahead of Lix. Lix, by the way, absolutely soaring away. KXI is still yet to make that pit, and Iconex is all over the back of him. As I say that though, Lix has spun around at the same places where Reservoir spun around. Came back on track, luckily it was in a bit of clean air from that, but Lix has actually just completely bottled that win now. There's been a multitude of that happening, and now for the race lead, Iconex gets that move done on KXI, and Melty getting that move done on Storm as well. Melty now technically a net 2nd position, Storm in a net 3rd position, but Iconex is the one that's now going to be soaring off. It's the other AlphaTauri driver that is looking like he might end up taking a win for tonight. Storm and Steve Day now both going side by side. Storm does back out of that one. He knows he needs to just try and stay behind him and just try and sort of stick with him at this moment. As Reservoir, I think, had a little bit of an oversteer moment coming out of that triple chicane, but keeps it on track anyway. Fliplands Ram now up ahead of Lix, and Lix, unfortunately for him, was leading that was leading the race after he got past KXI and was pulling out an absolute gap on everybody else, but just having a bit of a bottle. He's now down into P9, and MCR all over the back of him, as well as Lix still all over the back of Flipnams Ram, which is a bit interesting because Flipnams Ram's on 5-lap old medium tyres. You would have thought it would be the other way around, that Flip would try and make his way up through as KXI into the pits. So the final pit stop for tonight for, of course, our Red Bull, unless of course there's another safety car, which hopefully there won't be, but yeah, at the moment it's looking like Flipnams Ram just, in fact, he's caught up quite a bit to Sorrentier. I wonder if Sorrentier made a bit of a mistake because he was about 2.5 seconds behind, now only 1.3. So I wonder if the Dutchman made a slight mistake throughout that lap, as Reservoir going down the inside of Storm in towards the hairpin. And as I said, it's a bit of a champion's driver because he's making his way through this pack despite having that spin earlier on. I think that safety car did save him. He is trying to make his way through the field as Steve Day gets the move done on Melty as well. These are the for that podium positions. Melty and is still on for a 3rd position. These are all the battles for it. Reservoir, of course, did have a penalty as well. Did pick up that penalty under the safety car, 3-second time penalty. So still has the opportunity, if as long as he finishes within 3 seconds of Reservoir, Melty could get himself onto that podium. In fact, actually coming back at Steve Day in towards the triple chicane. Are we going to see Brick get the move done? No, he does not. He has to stay behind Steve Day for now. And a little bit further down, the two McLarens both chopping and changing this. Melty goes very, very wide after that triple chicane, and now Reservoir maybe looking to try and go for a move in towards the hotel section. As he dive it down the inside? No, he has not. Melty did leave him that room though, but Reservoir just opted better for that. Did not want to go for that move in the end. So yeah, Reservoir just keeping his head cool. Needs to try and figure out a way to get past Melty as best as he can. Completely cuts the inside though of that penultimate corner, and I'm sure that is a warning that the game was just given in for that cut as well. But Steve Day just sort of 1.1 seconds now behind iConnect, and it looked like Steve Day was the only one that could sort of keep up with Reservoir at that restart when they did restart under that first safety car. So I wonder if Steve Day, he's starting to catch up to the back of iConnect. Are we going to see the Mercedes get himself the ERS? iConnect, by the way, very, very low on ERS. And yeah, Steve Day picks up DRS off of the AlphaTauri. So Steve Day might actually be contending with iConnect for this race win. It looked like it was going to be Connect after he overtook KXI in the end, and it just completely pulled away. But you can see, trying to go maybe down the inside, the Reservoir gets a move done on Melty, both also low on that on their ERS, and Sirontier also going to try and go down the inside in towards the chicane of Storm. Storm does leave him a little bit of room, but does turning a little bit too early, and Storm now behind Sirontier, but he will pick up that DRS on the Red Bull driver. And actually for the lead of this race, you can see Steve Day going down the inside of iConnect, gets the move done. Steve Day now taking the lead of the race, and you can see it's between Steve Day, Connects and Reservoir for this P1 position. Of course, Melty as well is still within that, those top four, all battling it out to try and get themselves this win. Of course, Reservoir has won this championship, but it's up to Connects, up to Steve Day, and up to Melty to try and get some sort of win done in the end. And we'll see who is going to end up taking this win for tonight. So yeah, interesting thing could still go down, and we'll see who is going to be taking this win tonight. As yellow flags. In fact, that says Sirontier out of the race, and yet another safety car, our fourth safety car of the night. No, it is our fourth safety car of the night. Two virtual safety cars and one normals, and four normal safety cars. KXI is coming into the pits, chopped on a fresh set of softs, and is going to be maybe moving his way up ahead of the two McLarens and the Aston Martin of ERT Jordan. So both Jordans and MCR making their way into the pits. 11 now stand in Division 4, and KXI might actually be on for a very good finishing. Could even potentially be battling for a final podium position. It's a little bit difficult to overtake around the track, especially with everybody being in trains. But yeah, Steve Day, unfortunately for him, he made a good move, and unfortunately he's now going to be has to stay. Well, he will, fortunately for him, sorry, stay in the lead of this race. Connects and Reservoir also on a same sort of tyres as him. Are we going to see Melty maybe make a pit stop though? He may need to. Same with Storm and Licks, because they're just going to get eaten up constantly from Flipnams around, from KXI, from Jordan, and MCR. In fact, MCR has gone on a fresh set of medium tyres, interestingly, to the end, whereas Jordan and Jordan have gone on a fresh set of softs, and same with KXI. So they can take those softs to the end, that's for definite. They just won't be very good towards the end of this race. And I think that's why MCR's gone for a set of the medium tyres, because he knows he will have a better tyre advantage at the end of this race. But yeah, I think Steve Day, Connects and Reservoir, Melty, Storm, Licks, are we seeing any of these guys maybe make their way into the pits? Let's have a look. So, Steve Day, round the penultimate corner, and into the pits he goes. Into the pits, iConnects, Reservoir, Melty, Storm, Licks, everyone, sorry, is coming in. So, where is KXI going to come out in retrospect to the rest of those guys? In fact, unfortunately, I think he's been a little bit messed over with making that pit stop early on. Are we going to see him, though? Maybe make a jump up ahead of a few of these guys? I think we will. Steve Day will still remain in the lead of this race. I think Connects and Melty will remain as the top three. Where is KXI going to come out, though? You can see them all coming out of that pit box. And I think KXI just will come out in third. No, Melty does remain out in third position in the end, but KXI comes out in fourth after making that early pit stop. So, yeah, a very good. Well, I think this is going to be a bit of an interesting end to this race, in my opinion. As once again, I'll keep you updated on the rest of the excuse me, rest of the divisions. At this present moment, Division 1, it's looking like it's going Just As's way unless he does crash. Campbell down in 10th with 6 seconds worth of penalties. Just As is in 2nd on a fresh set of soft tyres as well. So unless, as I said, unless Just As crashes, I think Just As has won this championship in the end. It's very unfortunate, of course, for the Division 1 organiser of QBR Campbell. And then as for Division 3, in fact, they're under a safety car at this moment as well. Tope leading on 11 lap old medium tyres. Bunty 2nd, Whitechwell Wise in 3rd. Luke and Rick are 4th and 5th on a fresh set of soft tyres. So anything still goes down. The safety car is actually in at the end of this lap. I think this is it's the first lap they picked them up. And it's in fact coming in at the end of this lap, which is a bit interesting. I thought there was going to be at least one more lap, but it looks as if everybody is caught up. And yeah, we're going to be getting this underway very early, interestingly enough. So we'll see how the rest of this race is going to go down. We're going to have 8 laps to go once we do go green, and hopefully not another safety car. But at the moment, Steve Day going to be leading us through this safety car restart. When does the Mercedes driver opt to go? It's been a story at this penultimate corner, but it doesn't look as if he's going at this penultimate corner. Iconex is trying to stay around his outside. I think Steve Day just wants to make sure he's not around his outside. Gets the restart underway, and they've all read him like a book. Excuse me. Iconex does manage to keep that P2, but Melty, I thought, was going to try and go for that move in towards turn number 2. Does not in the end. Connects having a little bit of a wobble out of turn number 1 means that Steve Day can just sort of go on up ahead a little bit more. Reservoir and Licks both changing positions. And Flipman's around, maybe going to try and go down to it in towards turn number 5 and 6, but no. Licks does read that and make sure that Flipman's around does not get that move done. In fact, Flipman's around going a little bit into the back of the Mercedes driver, but a little bit further on up ahead, you can see that gap has completely pulled off. 8/10 of a second now. Steve Day up ahead of Iconex. Reservoir now trying to go for this move on Storm, and Storm also looking to go for a move on KXI as Licks goes around the outside of Flipnam's Ram. I think just to try and keep that position. Flip got a much better exit out of the hairpin. Flip goes a little bit wide coming out of the chicane, and unfortunately I think he's going to have to keep that, well, just stay in that position of P number 8. Licks will keep in that P7 position in the end, but very good restart from everybody here, and especially Steve Day. I think Connects had a very good restart in comparison, but that little wobble out of turn number 1 has just completely cost him, and now, excuse me, Steve Day is now just pulling up ahead of Iconex. Melty, by the way, still keeping that P3 position at the moment. KXI on 3 lap old soft tyres. They will probably go off at around sort of lap number 25, and I think KXI was going to be a little bit under pressure from the rest of those guys as well. As Storm still did a very good job in P5. Reservoir, of course, in P6, but has got that penalty to his name. Melty now almost dropping out of DRS. I know it's only the first lap back, but Melty almost dropping out of DRS from Connects and from Steve Day, and Melty really needs to try and do everything he can to keep within DRS of the rest of those guys if he wants a chance of finishing on that podium, because KXI and Storm are looking very racy. As I say that though, KXI goes around at turn number 3. Turn 3 claiming yet another victim. I don't think got any damage off of that. It looked like it hit his wheel first. Might have had a slight front right damage though, front left damage, sorry, from how he spun into that wall, but it looks like he's going to carry on going at the moment. But yeah, very unfortunate for him. In fact, Storm now out of DRS because of that spin from KXI. Had to back off ever so slightly, and now it's going to put him under pressure from Reservoir. In fact, Reservoir might even try and go for this move in towards the triple chicane. Are we going to see AlphaTauri maybe use a bit of that ERS? In fact, yes, he is burning that ERS. Storm also doing the same thing to try and get within DRS of those top 3 guys. Of course, DRS is not going to be activated until they cross the line at the end of this lap, but it's just going to help them out a lot more if they can try and keep that DRS, so at least then going into these final 6 laps, when they do cross the line, they will be able to keep that DRS. As Reservoir, yet another 3-second time penalty from our champion, so very unfortunate for him. He's going to be dropping down the field very quickly, maybe down even to 10th position, if unless Flipman's Ram can't keep within 3 seconds of him, because I know he has that penalty as well to his name. So yeah, Reservoir just needs to try and get a bit more of a move on, but he needs to get past Storm first, and Storm is doing everything he can to defend from Reservoir, and even up in front, Connects dropping now out of DRS from Steve Day. In fact, must have made some sort of mistake because Melty is now starting to close up to the back of him. And Melty getting away from Storm as well. Melty might even end up finishing in second in the end of this race. Despite from where he did start down in 10th position in the end. KXI picks himself up a 3-second time penalty down in 11th as well. Just gone from bad to worse for the Red Bull driver. He coming into the pits, and I think you'd probably see him retire from the session as well. Or chuck on a fresh set of softs, go for the fastest lap. May as well, there's no harm done with that. But yeah, DRS is now going to be open for the Williams of Melty and for Reza Fight as well. Unfortunately, not for Storm. Storm's just going to be eaten up very quickly. Connects, same thing is going to happen. One AlphaTauri is going to get overtaken. In fact, the other one does stay up ahead. Melty, I think, trying to play this cautiously, because on this one, he knows that there's a DRS coming up here. And Connects, you can see that red flashing light on the back of his car. I don't think Connects is going to be able to answer with anything. And Connects gonna just get eaten up by Melty. Goes around the outside, goes to Williams, and yet Connects just has to stay behind Melty for now. So Melty now up into second position, and yeah, Connects I think is going to be under pressure from his teammate as well, as you could already see it. 2.5 tenths of a second. I don't think Connects is going to try and fight this one too hard though. You can see that red flashing light on the back of the AlphaTauri, and I think Connects, like I said, just getting eaten up by his teammate Melty. Doing a very good job at the moment though, still in P2, but Steve Day, give yourself a pat on the back. You haven't made a foot wrong so far in this race, and fingers crossed, and hopefully I haven't commentators cursed it, that you do keep this lead of the race, because again, not made a mistake so far in this race, and well, it's paying dividends for him. He's the one that's in the lead. Same with Melty, both haven't made a mistake, and first and second at this moment. Licks has smashed into the wall, I believe, at the penultimate corner. Licks, I believe, is going to come in, maybe try and go for the fastest lap and get that wing fixed as well. But yeah, at the moment, Melty still keeping that P2, and in fact almost catching up to the back of Steve Day for that DRS. He really needs to get within that 1 second, and I think the Brit is just about missed out on that one. So Rezify Connects might opt to try and go for this move for P2. Of course, Rezify and Connects both being teammates. The AlphaTauri Force, you can see them both just side by side, and in fact, I think Connects has just more or less let Rezify go on ahead, and unfortunately for Rezify, it's not going to be close enough to the back of Melty. However, on this DRS straight, I think Rezify is just going to completely eat him up here. So let's have a look. He got a little bit. In fact, Melty got a bit of a better exit out of that chicane. He's using that DRS and ERS, and Melty using that ERS as well to stay up and ahead. But unfortunately for Rezify, where he left a bit too late, he's still staying behind Melty. And Melty is now back within a second of Steve Day. So Melty will have that DRS on Steve Day. Maybe even try and battle for this win. Could we see Melty possibly take his first race win in Division 4 for League of Europe? Remember, at the start of the season, he started down in Division 5. And now, for the final race of the season, he's now battling for the win, shall I say. Rezify, of course, with 6 seconds of penalties. I don't think he's going to take the win. Connects now picks up a 3-second time penalty. So our podium at this current moment is Steve Day, Melty and Storm as our top 3. This can still go anywhere. 4 more laps left to go of this race. And there's a yellow flag. That is ERT Jordan, unfortunately, at the final corner. And yet another safety car has come out. With 4 laps left to go, everything's now basically going to be put on its head, because everyone's still going to be within each other. MCR and Jordan, I think, have been sort of fluffed over the most. We're going to have only 2 laps left of racing, and there isn't going to be any DRS. So I don't know how this is going to go down. I really don't. I really don't know how this is going to go down. KXI has binned it as well at the triple right-handers, which is, I believe, why that's brought out that safety car. Now only 9 people left in Division 4. As I said, every place that you finish now just means more points. So every time there's on DNFs, it's just more points that you will be finishing off with. And MCR, as I said, still at the moment not DNF'd. So you might even see the 2 McLarens. I wouldn't blame if they do. Maybe make their way into the pits. You can see, yeah, Jordan backing off a bit more. So I think we're going to see the 2 McLarens maybe make their way into the pits. Jordan just doesn't want to try and double stack with his teammate. So he needs to drop back, I think, a little bit more. Maybe about 4 seconds would be a gap, I believe, that you would need to try and not double stack with your teammate. Maybe even 5 seconds. But yeah, are we going to see anybody within this top lot make their way into the pits at this present moment? We'll ride on board with Steve Day, in fact, and see if he does come into the pits at the end of this lap, or if Melty, Resify connects, any of those maybe make their way into the pits. It doesn't look as if they are. In fact, Resify does come into the pits. He knows he's got that penalty. In fact, no, he didn't. He faked me out in there, in fact. So he doesn't come in. No one has opted to come in other than the McLarens, which again, I do not blame them for. They will still remain in 7th and 8th. As you can see, Lix is quite a bit behind anyway, so I don't think Lix is going to be able to get any sort of positions done under this safety car. But Steve Day will remain out in the lead of the race. He had a very good restart last time. Melty as well, both had very good restarts. Of course, they've got that little buffer because they know that the two behind them have got penalties. They will still try and fight them for this win on track, but they have both got penalties, so it's really down to Steve Day versus Melty on who is going to take this win for tonight. If you want a bit of an update as well for other divisions, Division 3, there is also a safety car. It's lap 27 of 28, so they will have 1 lap left of racing. I think, where have I seen this one before? There's 1 lap left of racing. Taupe versus Rick at the front of the grid. Luke is out of the race, so he's out of the championship, unfortunately. But Rick versus Taupe of 1 and 2. Rick is first, Taupe is second. Taupe is on 17 lap old mediums. Rick's on 5 lap old softs. It's looking like it's going to go the way of Rick for this championship. As for Division 1, I think it is pretty much confirmed. They're on the final lap. In fact, coming around the final corner as well. Safety car is, of course, in this lap for Division 4, as Jordan and MCR and Lex all trying to catch up to the back of those guys as well. I'm sure they will do very soon. But yeah, Just Us does take second. Campbell does take 8th. Unfortunately for QVR Campbell, that's championship done. Just Us has become the Division 1 champion. And as for Division 3, I'm wanting to try and keep a third eye on this one, because this is going to go, it's literally going down to the final lap. Rick versus Taupe, whoever finishes out in front of each other wins this championship. There's only 3 points in it between the two of them, and they're 1 and 2. So it's an 8-point difference. A 7-point difference, sorry. I really want to try and keep a third eye on that one, but I'm going to watch on board with Steve Day, because he is going to be making his way now to try and get himself, I believe this would be his first or second race win for the Mercedes. I'm going to have a quick look. It will be his first win, so Steve Day looking to take his first win. Melty also the same, both looking to take their first wins of the season. Steve Day has now gone. Very good restart from the Mercedes. Melty has sort of clocked on with it. Storm as well, all over the back of the two Alpha Tauris. In fact, all over the back of iConnect on this safety car restart. Are we going to see Storm maybe go for this move? No, we don't. iConnect does go very, very wide, though, coming out of turn number 1. Maybe a little bit of a steward support from there, but at the moment, Steve Day does keep that position. Flipman's Ram trying to go around the outside of Storm in towards turn number 3. This would be an amazing move, and in fact, he has gotten that stuck. Storm, though, trying to hold it around the outside in towards the chicane. Flipman's Ram does give him that room, but does get the move. What a move that was for the Alpine in the end. And yeah, does keep that or gets into P5. Very good move. Steve Day still in the lead of this race. Melty, though, or starting to close up to the back of him. Same with Resify with that ERS as well, and the slipstream. I think it's going to be a bit more difficult for him to try and get any sort of move done. As for Division 3, Rick has gotten a 1-second gap already. Taupe down into 3rd position. I think it was just a bit unfortunate for Taupe that he hasn't pit, and I think Rick, unless he spins on this final lap, I think Rick has taken this win in the end. As Flipman's Ram at the exit of the chicane has unfortunately gone around. I don't know if he had any contact with Storm or with Connects or whoever, but unfortunately for Flipman's Ram, after making that sublime move out of turn 3, has spun around in the end. Steve Day is still leading at this present moment. Of course, 2 laps left to go, or 1.5 laps left to go, shall I say now. I think it's going to be almost impossible for Melty, unless he can utilise the ERS on that final lap. He's just going to have to burn everything he possibly can if he wants this win. Steve Day not got a win. Melty not got a win for Division 4. We're now on to, or coming up towards the final lap of the race. Only another 3.6 miles, I think it is, left to go of Division 4, and who is going to be the one that takes this win in the end? Is it going to be Steve Day? Is it going to be Melty? Steve Day does have a nice exit out of turn number 1, but so does Melty. In fact, Melty has a much better exit out of turn 1. 0.2 of a second now behind Steve Day. Are we going to be seeing anything going in towards the hairpin, or even in towards that chicane down that first DRS straight? Of course, no DRS is going to be enabled, but Melty applying that pressure on Steve Day immensely for this final lap, and you can see he's all pushing him now throughout the back of this. Steve Day has a little bit of a wobble. This is going to give Melty the opportunity to go for this move, take this win. He's going to be using that ERS. Steve Day also going to be using that ERS, but he's got Slipstream. Steve Day got to try and push him over towards the left-hand side. Melty now goes into the lead of this race. Steve Day using he's used a lot of his ERS already to stay on up ahead. They're both still side by side, both giving each other the room. Melty goes around the outside, has not much better traction, coming off at the corner, and Melty will go into the lead of this race. Steve Day, though, he's got the he's using his ERS and the slipstream. Melty's going to try and just hold him off as much as possible, but I think Melty has done just enough to keep that in the lead in the end, and yes, he does. Melty will looks like he will be taking this win in the end. He's just got a few more corners to go. Steve Day has a little bit of a wobble as he comes through the triple rights. Reservoir has to back off of that one in the end. MCR, by the way, all over the back of Reservoir, and in fact, after all of that, MCR is actually going to finish on the podium. He got past Storm in the end, but enough about that. Melty, again, him and Steve Day, not any mistakes whatsoever other than that final lap from Steve Day. But Melty's going to come home to take the win on his final race for Division 4 and will take the win in the end for the final round of the season. Steve Day does finish in second, and MCR, give yourself a pat on the back. You've literally finished in the points every single race so far, and I say so far, you've finished in every single you finished every single race in the points this season, so congratulations to you for that one. And driver of the day, I would say is a bit deserved, but at the same time, I think Melty deserves it. It was a very good drive from him and Steve Day. The top three didn't make him a single mistake in that race, and it's paid dividends for him. But Melty taking his first Division 4 race win. Steve Day in second, and of course MCR in third. And Resify, like I said, if it wasn't clarified earlier, definitely clarified now, has taken the Division 4 championship. So congratulations to him for that. And yeah, I think that is all she wrote for Division 4. I will read you out, of course, the final standings for this race. As I said, Melty does take his maiden Division 4 win, and I suppose the final round of the season, why not? What better place to do it? Steve Day, very, very unfortunate for him. He was doing so well. Obviously, him and Resify looked like they were in a class of their own, as well as Patzer, but unfortunately Patzer DNF with that one. But Steve Day finishing in second, a heartbreaking second for him. MCR kept it clean throughout that entire race and finishes in third. Same with Storm in fourth. Ariel Jordan, two McLarens, third and fifth. I think that might be the best results of the season for the pair of them. Lix is in sixth, Connects and Resify in seventh and eighth. And of course, our champion finishing in eighth position. Flip Namsram in ninth, and then of course our DNFers, all from Jordan, KXI, Sarontier, Podpost, Stephen, Brahman Console, Aledi, Patsa Yapsa, Angel, and Bjorn on that first lap as well. And what a race to end that on for Division 4. Melty taking that win in the end. Steve Day finishing in second. And then, of course, MCR taking the win. But like I say, REL Resify, Relentless Resify, does take the championship in the end. Massive congratulations to him for that one. And again, both of those guys, it was deserved for both of them, but when Patsa Japsa ended up crashing, that was it. There was nothing else that he could have possibly done. That was